Hello friends, my name is Sande. I come from Australia, though I was born in Spain. I grew up in Spain for about 20 years, and then I decided to get a backpack and arrive to Australia. So my accent is a hybrid between a guy that arrived there without English and learned the language in the street by working, and then by studying at university. A number of degrees there. I work in Australia as a clinical nutritionist at a medical clinic, and also since 2014, late 2014, we were actually studying, one of the pioneers in Australia at least, to do video conferencing for nutritional appointments. So I'm very excited for this seminar, the weight connection, how to actually maintain a healthy weight, how to do it in a doable way. How many of you have done any diets before? Yeah. The thing is that a diet has like a expiry date, you know, like you get bored of it, you know. How many broccoli can you eat, you know? So it's just not workable. In the long run, not workable, okay? So in this seminar of the weight connection, we want to present something that is going to be doable. So in my seminars, I have people that are from all corners of life. I have radish. You know who a radish is? A person that eats everything raw. Okay, radish. Then we have vegans. We have people that will not touch anything that is not organic. We have people that are vegetarians. We have people that are pescatarians. You know what a pescatarian is? Person that eats fish. We have people that won't eat red meat. We have people that just don't care. Okay? We have everyone. So I need to continuously have that in mind. So I don't know where you are at, but think about where someone else might be. Okay? And understand that I'm trying to speak in a global sense, trying to appeal as many people as possible. Okay? I'll give you an example. I was actually doing a consultation, a video conference consultation to a gentleman. He was 135 kilos. You guys speak in kilos? No, you speak in that pagan language. What was it? Pounds. Okay, so I speak in Christian language, 135 kilos. And so that will be around 270 pounds. 275 pounds or so, okay? And he wanted to lose weight. He knew he needed to lose weight, but he was not prepared to do the sacrifice. And that's why he was actually very happy finally with the outcome of the protocol that I provided for him. But it was basically the mom and the daughter that organized the entire appointment. As we were discussing the effects of hormones and how hormones were preventing him from losing weight and how to actually activate certain hormones to start losing weight and so on, things that we will learn through this seminar, he was getting very, very, very excited because it was doable. He said, I can do that. I can do that. Then the wife said to me, oh, what about alcohol? And he did like this. She did like this, you know, to the husband. What about alcohol? Now, this was the real Aussie. You know, he will get a six-pack. A six-pack is 6 bottles of beer every night after work and drink the six-pack every night for 7 days a week. So we call it stubbies. You know, he will get the 6 stubbies, sit down, watch television, and drink the stubbies. Okay? What about alcohol? And I said to him, well, what about alcohol? He said, well, nothing. And I go, well, according to what I actually said to you about the hormones, from a weight control point of view, not talking about anything else, just from the weight point of view, what do you think it will do to you? It will prevent me from losing weight. And then I said to him, and this is something very useful in these seminars, so you know where I'm coming from. I said to him, my uncompromised position in regards to alcohol is 0. That's my uncompromised position. And I said to him, your uncompromised position is I'm just going to drink the same way that I'm drinking. So I said to him, where do you want to draw the line? And he said, I can cut it in half. And I said, you can cut it in half? I said, yeah. You sure? Yeah. So I did like this through the camera, you know, like shaking his hand, and said, okay, half. We'll just do a half. Now, notice, my uncompromised position was 0. But that wasn't doable for him. So I'm failing as a practitioner if I put a goal that is unreachable. So he said half. Okay. So the way in which he learned about me was through one of the personal trainers that we work with. We work with a number of personal trainers around Australia, and they send us their clients for weight loss mainly. So I called the personal trainer a few weeks after, and I asked about him. How is he going? Oh, he's going well. He's starting to lose the weight. He's actually very excited. And I said, how is he going with the alcohol? And he said, the trainer said to me, he's drinking 2 beers on Saturday and 2 beers on Sunday. Now, those that know mathematics, is that half? No, that's not even 10% or close to 10% of what he agreed to. Why? Because it was doable, and then he gets excited. I had no problem saying agreeing on half. It's like somebody eating on one of those unhealthy burgers that are around. In the beginning, you have to force yourself, really. If you're not used to it, you really have to force yourself to that feeling of ugh afterwards. But if you force yourself, you'll be craving for it, and then you ask more and more of it. When you actually start heading to a healthy alternative, your body actually starts seeing an opportunity to become healthier, and you start craving more to it. Okay? So that's where I come from. I need to make it to the people in a workable way. It's not the same to the way I will do it to my mom that I will do it to someone else. The protocol that I will set for them. Okay? So, having said all that, I need to put a disclaimer through. The Weight Connection seminars are designed to share valuable information with the general public. They are not to be used as a treatment for individual cases. Consult with your health professional. And you can even, from this place in Canada, you can actually book a video conference with us for consultations. Now, why are we saying this? Because the information presented does not take into account if you are on medication for diabetes. It does not take into account if you are in medication for high blood pressure. It does not take into account if you are on antidepressants. It does not take all that into account. As an integrative clinical nutritionist, I need to have that information in order to provide for you a particular protocol that takes those things into account. Does that make sense? Otherwise, you take it as a prescription, something happens to you, then you put a claim against me, and I pay your holidays in the Bahamas. Okay? And I have to watch for that. I do have a liability insurance, but I have to watch for that. Okay? I cannot open my liability insurance continuously because you have taken things out of your logical context. Okay? So there is a logical context. Now, also, do not put your children in any of these things for them to lose weight or etc. Okay? Children are completely in a different category for that. All right? So that's us, and we actually concentrate on all intestinal disorders from Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, IBS, all sorts of things from the gut. We deal with allergies and food sensitivities, autism, and learning disabilities and children's nutrition, diabetes, lifestyle, and weight management. And today we're actually going to do weight management. And we're going to start with the dark side. Do you know that there's a dark side in the weight connection? Now, in this seminar, we're not going to concentrate in these two cases. If you suffer from any of these two conditions, or you know of someone that suffers from any of these two conditions, you might need additional mental health practitioner that can help you and guide you through that, okay? So one of them is anorexia and the other one is bulimia. So in the anorexia position, the person sees himself or herself very, very big, and in order to actually make herself or himself thinner, just stops eating. So that teenager, and it doesn't have to be a teenager by the way, will leave the table very early. You won't see her eat with you, and it will just go out and basically live on an apple a day. It will do very extreme exercises for a very, very long time. And there will be some physical signs and symptoms that can be picked up on that. For instance, can't think right. It will be fear of gaining weight, sad, moody, bad memory, fainting. By the way, we actually have 9-year-old girls already with these issues. Now, they are not teenagers, and they're already coming through our consultations with, it's just that I'm too fat and just too big. Look at my thigh. And they're speaking a language as if they were 18 years of age, and they are 9. Look at my thigh. Look how big they are. Okay? That is something beyond the weight. We're not talking about weight here. We're talking about perception and mental perception. Okay? So we can see it in the hair, we can see it in the heart, we can see it in the blood with anemia, blood problems. We can see it in the muscle and bones with weak muscles, in the kidneys, in the body fluids, in the hormones, in the skin. We can see it all throughout. Now, bulimia, on the other hand, the person does not stop eating, but he still wants to lose weight. So what it does, that person does a lot of purging. Okay? For instance, I'll put a photo there. One of the things that we need to look for is those signs in the hands, the Russell signs. Why? Because the teeth leave the mark here. Okay? And I've seen them. I've seen them in girls. Okay? So I just use the skews. Let me just check your nails to see if there's any calcium deficiency signs there, or any zinc deficiency signs there, or any essential fatty acid deficiency signs. And as I get there, it gives me the skews to see if there's any signs here. And I've seen them. Okay? So in this case, they do eat, but they eat too much, and then they have the guilt, and then they just go and vomit, okay, in order to lose weight. So they have a lot of reflux issues. They have a lot of burning around this area. They come with reflux, they come with burning, etc. And some of the other signs of deficiencies are shown in them. Now, according to the internet, these two photos are of the same guy. Apparently, he was a model, and he suffered anorexia. He actually thought that he was too big. And he started losing weight, and he finally died. It doesn't look big, isn't it? Doesn't he? When he looked nice and healthy? It didn't. So it's a mental perception, so it's just beyond the weight. And these seminars, the information in these seminars are not actually thorough enough for these cases, for these individuals. Okay? They need one-on-one help, and they need a lot of support. But as a parent and as a friend, you can start seeing the signs in your daughter, and your son, friend, or whatever, and trying to refer. Now, in Australia, there are a number of places to start with in that journey. Eatingdisorders.org.au, that's an Australian website that supplies help in these cases. It is a huge problem, and it's not the weight. The problem is not in the body fat percentage. It's in something else. Okay? Besides that, we know that we have an obesity problem. That's the map of the world, and the red color shows nations that are extremely overweight. Australia, yeah. Oh, where are you guys? Canada, look at that. Now, I have no idea why they have the red right up there, because I don't think there's many people living there. Is that right? Right north of Canada. But what it's actually showing is that there is a higher percentage of overweight people in those nations. Okay? The United States of America, of course, some places in Africa, the United Kingdom, okay, is there reigning. Now, the statistics are a little bit deceiving. So, for instance, in Australia and America and Canada, you can actually find people that are fairly fit and skinny type, and the opposite is way over. So you can actually find people with 300 pounds, 150 kilos, 350 pounds, like very, very big people, okay? And they are the ones that kind of put up a very high average. If you look at my home country in Spain, right in the middle, that's why Spaniards think that they are the center of the world, is not in red. However, when you go to Spain, there's actually a lot of people that do have extra weight. But you do not see the 300-pound individual over there. You see the 200 and, you see the little Spaniard, 210. You say, oh, 200, yeah, but it's a little Spaniard. So you'll see a lot of little Spaniards with the little gut here, okay? So that is the average for Spain. So you don't have the streams, but it's still overweight, okay? And it's a real epidemic. However, the number one in this crisis, this world crisis of obesity, is, so that's a little bit of an idea. I'll give you an idea, like United States of America, New Zealand, Australia, Canada. Those are the countries with the biggest obesity in this chart. However, they are not the biggest. The biggest is actually Tonga and Samoa. They are extremely big. We have a lot of Tongans and Samoans in Australia. They actually migrate into Australia, or they are of Samoan and Tongan descent. And the thing is that over there, you mix two things in one. Number one, they are actually extremely big people by default. They actually have a very big frame. They're very tall. When I shake some of my friends' hands, you know, my hand disappears in their hand. I'm the little Spaniard, they are the big Samoans. Their mothers think that I am sick. I've been cursed by God somehow because look at how skinny he is. However, I'm actually on the right spectrum of BMI for my height. So in their culture, being skinny is either being sick or you are not prosperous enough. So the bigger you are, the bigger the blessing you have. So now it's not just try to lose weight as you are losing prosperity. I mean, it's easier to convince you to lose weight if that is going to give you a better life and better health. But if you are going to lose weight for the sake of losing prosperity, it's an oxymoron in their heads. Okay? So it becomes extremely difficult. I've got many friends from Samoan and Tongan background, dear friends of mine, they live in Australia, lovely people, gentle characters, lovely people, but they do have a struggle, and there's their culture. You know, when they gather together for a family meal, is eat until you cannot eat any longer. Then they cover the table with a cloth. They sit around until you open a little bit more space. Then they remove the cloth and they eat. I had friends that work in construction. They'll go to a chicken place. They eat 2 chicken each for breakfast. with the chips, with the soft drink and everything else. And that's their culture. That's what you do. So you start realizing that the weight has more aspects of it than just what you eat, but also what you're thinking, what you think about yourself and how you're thinking. What are your thinking processes, your thought processes, of it. Now, that is very typical. I'm just going to illustrate to you by using my grandfather. When he was in his 20s and 30s and 40s, back in Spain, he was living in the middle of Spain where all the wheat fields are. And he had to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, get on a push bike and go through gravel roads, get into the fields by 6, harvest by hand with a sickle, all through the day, in the heat of the day, from sunrise to sunset. Then get into the bike and cycle back at night to the house. Do you think he was overweight? No. He can eat whatever. He will burn it. Okay? He will burn it. But we're actually living in a society nowadays that we get up in the morning and our longest exercise is from here to the bathroom, then back from the bathroom to the dining, from the dining to the car, from the car to the office, from the office to the car to the house, to the house, from the house to the sofa. And you have to eat very, very, very little not to put on weight in those conditions, okay? Society has changed. The way we actually do things have changed. Through the course of these seminars, you will actually see how sedimentary our society is. I'll show you a program, an Australian program that is called the 10,000 Steps. Just do 10,000 steps a day. I'll show you in future presentations. And you'll realize how sedentary we are as a society. Okay? Now, how many here have heard of the ACE questions? ACE stands for Adverse Childhood Experiences. In some cases, I actually ask my patients to answer this questionnaire. It's only in a few cases when it's very, very obvious to me that there's something there. So these questions go along this line. Did a parent or other adult in the household often or very often swear at you, insult you, put you down, or humiliate you? Did a parent or other adult in the house often or very often push, grab, slap, or throw something at you, or ever hit you so hard that you had marks or were injured? Did an adult or person at least 5 years older than you ever touch or fondled you, or have you touched their body in a sexual way, etc., etc., etc.? Did you often feel that no one in your family loved you? Did you often or very often feel that you had not enough to eat? Okay? And there is a number of questions in that questionnaire, and they have a ranking. They have like a score at the end. Were your parents separated or divorced? Was your mother or stepmother often or very often pushed or grabbed, etc.? Did you live with anyone who was a problem drinker or alcoholic? Was a household member depressed or mentally ill? Did a household member go to prison? There is a number of questions there. You tell me what these questions have to do with weight. It will appear that nothing. However, the ACE program is internationally recognized. It gathered tremendous amount of information and data to the point in which now we know that adverse childhood experiences are now influencing the health of those same children when they grow and become adults. Okay? We know that adverse childhood experiences will be manifested in a higher risk of poverty, higher risk of intergenerational transmission disparity, and higher risk of alcohol, tobacco, and drugs, risky sex, or, look at it there in the center, obesity. Okay? Obesity. Now, let me illustrate. Had a lady that came to see me, and I have to be very aware of her information. So this lady, she wanted to lose weight. She always struggled with weight. She had a very low self-esteem because of her weight. And she actually felt that she was a failure because she tried so many times to lose weight and she couldn't. Just after talking to her in a number of ways and sending her home with a number of exercises that had nothing to do with health, with weight, she actually brought back very revealing information. She was always put down by mom because she was gaining the weight and she was never going to get married if she continued to eat that way. That's what mom told her. But mom didn't know that the father was actually stepping into the bedroom at night and abusing her. The father didn't like overweight people. So she thought, how will my dad stop abusing me if I just become one of the people that he doesn't like? So she started eating. And in her mind, in her perception, becoming ugly and fat in her perception and mind. So dad will stop molesting her. Now you tell me what that has to do when she comes to see me to lose weight. Did I just give a protocol? There's something else there, isn't it? It's just not the weight. And in many cases, the weight is not the issue. The weight is just a symptom, an outward symptom of something else. Okay? And we have to be aware of that, especially when we start pointing fingers at people. Because they must be overweight because they must be their fault. And we victimize them even further to those people. Okay? We have to be extremely careful with that. I actually found out in my experience that the less pressure I put on people, the better they do. They actually do greater when they have less pressure and just little steps for them to follow and plenty of support from the side. There's some of my patients that come to see me every 2 weeks. They already know what to do. They already have the protocol. They're fine-tuning the protocol. The protocol is working for them. They just come and sit down at my office, or they do a video conference with me, and they just sit down and they just talk to me about their grandchildren. They talk to me about whatever else. They're not talking to me about their weight. They know that they need accountability, so that's why they come. And they call me, and they said, I want to book an appointment. And they just sit down and talk to me because they need to respond to someone and they need that support. They already know the protocol. They could have stopped seeing me 6 months before. But if they stop seeing me, that goes the accountability, and they fall on that. So they tell me about everything in their lives, nothing related with their weight, and they're doing much, much better. I normally illustrate it in this way. It's like the San Francisco Bridge, Golden Bridge. You know that famous bridge in San Francisco? Before they started to build that bridge, they were very, very concerned because many people were going to die out of accidents falling from that bridge. Because previous experiences show the high rate of deaths when they were building that type of bridge. And now this was huge. So what they actually did, they provided a net. They put a net first from one side of the bay to the other side of the bay, and they spread the net there. And then, with the net in place, a safety net, then they started to build the bridge. And guess what? At some point they were wondering if the net was a waste of money because nobody was falling. They put it there for safety, but nobody was falling. Why not? Because in the previous occasions, when there was not net, the workers were like that. Oh man, if I miss this, I'm gone. while they were working in the Golden Bridge, they were working in a different mindset. Their mindset was, well, okay, I'm just going to work here. If I fall, somebody's catching me. The net is catching me. So they had the confidence. They have the assurance. They have the positive outcome. And they knew that they were not going to die. And all of a sudden, they stopped falling. Isn't that amazing? What the mind can do to us. So I actually realized that if I stop pointing the fingers and putting the victimized language to the patients, they do much, much better. If I become their friends, one that actually understands that they're doing the best they can, and they might have many, many issues, go back to, in this case that I just mentioned, dad molesting her. I can be there guiding them and helping them and understanding it, and they do much, much better. Much, much better. The fault is not on the person. We need to walk on someone else's shoes before we can start understanding their lives. Okay? So, that brings an end to the introduction of the weight connection. We are going to now start developing more and more how hormones are playing against us, or after the seminar, we will know how those same hormones can actually play in our favor to control our weight. Thank you for your attention.